We're not designing this webinar for you to be like fully equipped to be ready to go sell a home yourself, because there's a ton of risk in that process, though it can work and you will get some good tools if that's a strategy that you want to do, especially after next week's. But we want to give you a lot of information, inform you about the process and what to be looking for, ideally, if you're hiring an agent, because you do get more protection that way. They do have a fiduciary responsibility to look out for your best interests, put you first, even ahead of themselves. So there's a lot of benefits to that, but not all agents are created equal. So whoever you're hiring, whatever you're doing, make sure that they're bringing some of these things to the table and that you're aware and can have a good conversation with them. So let's talk about the types of sales. There's turnkey is a term that we use. Turnkey is kind of just the house as it sits, an average house, ready to go, not really doing a lot to it. Typical home, walk in, buy it. Top dollar is the term we use for a really nice house. Think new construction, think really great flip, really dialed in, ready to go, ideal kind of dream homes category. Whatever you can do to make your house as nice as possible are the things that you're going to do if you're going to pursue the top dollar strategy. The as is, where is strategy. This is usually used more often on houses with some motivation, which we'll be digging into, or properties that need a lot of love, potentially properties that have a little bit more development potential than traditional resale potential. That can lead into the extended close type of sale where you're doing something on builder or developer terms. There's even some creative strategies like lease options that you can do, or do something like a seller carried contract. Wraps and novations are a different way to kind of structure a seller carried contract. A lot of people are familiar with a seller carried sale, where in essence, you as the seller become the bank. We're not going to dig real deep into any of the creative strategies today. We may do that further on in an investor series, but they are available. We did want to cover them a little bit today. In lease option and seller carry, a key variation, we'll spend a couple minutes on those. A key variation and a key thing to account for is ownership or control. I really like both of these strategies. Depending on the chair that I'm in, if I'm buying or I'm selling, I have a preference for one strategy over the other. And that preference is framed around, do I want ownership or control? So ownership is who is on title, who legally owns the property. You can own and control a property. Control is the person who can determine what can happen with the property. So while you can own and control simultaneously, you don't always own and control simultaneously, which is a thing that can kind of blow people's minds. So I wanted to take a couple minutes and talk about those things. In a typical sale, ownership and control transfer when the property transfers. So on closing day, when you sign all the documents and everything, and then it goes and gets recorded at the county, ownership and control have transferred at the same moment in time in a typical sale most of the time. There's one little exception to that. In a seller carried sale, ownership and control transfer. So you sell the property, the new person takes title and they take control of the property, but you don't get all of your money at once. You may say, why would people do that? Could be a way to get more money over time. There could be tax benefits. Some people like the ongoing income streams from a seller carried sale. So there's a lot of reasons to do it, but a seller carried sale transfers title to the new buyer. A lease option really only control transfers. So a lease with an option to purchase means if I were to lease option your house, we would sign a lease and say you wanted to sell it for $800,000. I would sign a lease where I'm buying it for $800,000, but I'm not buying it right now. I have the option to buy it for $800,000 or whatever price is agreed to at some point in the future, as determined by the agreement we sign. Usually they're 1 to 5 year options on them. You can get super creative, super customizable with the seller carry or the lease option and get really exotic. That's why we're not going to dig into it here. So we could spend a day just on these two topics, let alone trying to fit them inside of an hour-long webinar for you guys. But just understand that difference. With the lease option, I can control the property. I can resell it based on the terms that we've negotiated to, but ownership is still in your name. I just have value in having the option on the property to be able to determine what happens with it. they are much bigger topics than we can really dig into, but I did want to spend a little bit of time on those and just let you know about them a little bit.